and acknowledge the fact that the Vice President of Columbia University is here. I think in light of what I wanted to say, it is very important the university is sending a representative, such a senior representative here, to hear what I and we have to say. I think it's a huge step in the right direction. And second of all, before I begin, I would like to make a very important distinction. Many people tell me that by comparing anti-Zionism to antisemitism, I'm just trying to silence all the voices that are opposed to certain Israeli policies, to the Israeli current government. And I would really like to make that distinction. This is not at all what we at Students Supporting Israel and I as Ofir, it's not what we're trying to do. I would like to make this distinction by saying that the line is very, very clear. If you object to a certain policy or a certain elected government, that's completely okay. But if you object to the right of the Jewish people for self-determination in their homeland, that's a whole different issue. Once you think every other nation on earth has a right to self-determination, but only the Jews don't, this is anti-Semitism. And if you create a certain standard to every country on earth, and a different standard to judge the only Jewish state, there's no other word but anti-Semitism for that. So this is a distinction that it was very important for me to make. And now I would like to speak a little about Columbia University and other campuses where I have friends and colleagues who study and do advocacy for Israel. To me, I find our battle on campuses not just the battle of anti-Semitism. This is a battle for basic human rights on college campuses for Jewish students. Our movement, Students Supporting Israel, it's important to know we're not a Jewish movement. We have approximately 20% of our members who are not Jewish on my board. 2 out of 7 are not Jewish, but they support Israel, and this is a very important thing for us and for me personally. But this is a struggle for basic human rights. This is a struggle for freedom of speech. When the university is complicit with people who are covering flyers posted by our group, just so people wouldn't see them or wouldn't attend our events, this is trying to silence us. This is what they're trying to do. And when we walk out of a building where a rally is taking place that has nothing to do with Israel, and they see us, people who are recognized as pro-Israel leaders and students on campus, and they start chanting chants about Israel, this is targeting us. And this is the issue. When we submit footage of a TA working at Columbia University who is getting paid by the university, holding a sign, calling murderer to one of our former leaders, this is not freedom of speech of that TA. This is defamation. This student did not murder anyone. When a student calls me a baby killer on campus, and I'm being told there is nothing the university can do about it, this is not freedom of speech. This is defamation. And I feel like the battleground on campuses became from an ideological one to a personal one. They're trying to intimidate us as individuals and trying to make us not advocate for Israel. And what I wanted to tell you is that there's no way that's going to happen. Even if we're few people, we still have good people who care about Israel, who care about the Jewish people, and would continue to do that, whether or not they're Jewish themselves. And I think this is the important message. And I think the message that should come out of this room today is not one of a weak Jewish community that needs the support of the adults. Of course we need your support. But I want you to come out of this room with optimism that you have a young generation of Jewish leaders and non-Jewish leaders who care about Israel, who care about the Jewish people. They would love your help, but they're not going to stop supporting Israel, and they're not going to stop advocating for Israel on college campuses no matter what happens. So this is the message, I think, that's the most important thing. When it comes to our struggles at Columbia, I'll just say a few words. Last January, we submitted to the university a 13 pages complaint about a certain anti-Israel organization on campus that is breaking university rules in order to harass and intimidate us. Unfortunately, this is November and nothing has been done, although we met with many university officials, even senior ones, although we protested, we went to the press, we did whatever we could. Unfortunately, nothing has been done. And a last important point, it's not a good one, but I hope it won't damage the optimism. Last week, 11 people were murdered at Pittsburgh. A day later, Columbia University issued a statement. 2 words were not to be found in this statement: Jews and anti-Semitism. These words were not on the Columbia University statement. Me, among other students, alumni, and members of the Jewish community, emailed the university and asked them to amend the statement. Fortunately, they did. But I think it's very important for us to hold universities and other institutions accountable for this. I do not think they did it maliciously. I don't think someone stood there and drafted the email and said, no, I'm not going to mention Jews. I don't think that was happened. But the fact that it never even occurred to the person, a very senior official in the school who sent out this email, this is outrageous. This is not acceptable. And we should hold universities accountable and other institutions. Sadly, they amended it only after students, alumni, and members of the Jewish community emailed back. But hopefully, first of all, hopefully we would not be in that situation again of having to even receive these emails. And hopefully we would not even encounter such horrific acts of terror like that. But if we do, I really hope that universities and other institutions will learn the lesson and keep that in mind. And as they can, and I'm really glad they are mentioning LGBTQ, like crimes against the LGBTQ community and against the African American community and the Asian American community. I hope they will remember to keep in mind to say this is an anti-Semitic crime when one happens. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next,